Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is about that time. Keep your hands up and keep your head on a swivel. The Haymakers and Submissions podcast is here. We woke up and chose violence today. Stick and stay for combat sports talk at its finest, coming your way now. It's time again for the Haymakers and Submissions podcast. Welcome, everybody. My name is Dave Jasinski-Drew, and I'm joined by Michael Mills, better known as Chops. Chops, how you doing?
Man, good to be here. Good to be here. How's everything with you, man? How is everything with you?
I'm good, man. I'm really good. I'm ready to talk about Fury Usyk too, man. That was it's kind of as advertised in my view, but it's going to be fun to talk about and also preview a couple other fights from a couple weeks ago that we want to talk about. Oleksandr Ramirez was one of them, and Jaime Munguia another. So we'll be touching on those. But my brother, we got to jump into the Usyk Fury rematch.
Real quick, before we do that, man, actually, I don't know. I know we all know you love your Lions. We all know this. But have you been watching any of, or do you follow much college football? Did you watch any of the playoffs this weekend?
I did, yeah. Kind of surprised at the outcomes, and not in terms of who won, but how the margin of victory. I was a little surprised by that.
Well, yes and no on a lot of them. Because as well, this isn't what we do here on this one, but I want the best teams, not the best records. And I do believe the Alabamas, I believe the LSU, I believe South Carolina were better than Boise, SMU. We'll see, Clemson only got in because they won the ACC, but I don't think they were one of the best 12 teams in the country. So I'm glad that we're seeing some blowouts on teams we didn't think was going to be there. Because, of course, they'll try to work it out better, but I think they got to do away with these conferences, man. But it was good football on all levels, college and pro. And then boxing, it couldn't beat it, man. It was a good time. Good time.
Yeah, definitely. You're right. I mean, let's face it. If they expand the field to 16, there'd be 4 other teams complaining that they
without question
the last team out.
One thing, but they even do it in basketball with 64. The teams, but the thing is, why I want more. It's more great football we get to watch.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's more great football we get to watch. So I'm all for it, brother. I'm all for it, man. Yeah, I'm ready to rock and roll, man. As this 2024 winds down.
Yeah, so we got a one last title defense here in boxing, at least until 2025, and Usyk defeats Tyson in a unanimous decision this time. Last time was a split decision. This time unanimous. Every judge, Chops, had the fight 116-112.
Yes.
You were the only one that last week on our show. We had Claudio Rosano on here last week as well. We both picked Fury. You picked Usyk, and you said if it got to the judges, it was going to go to Usyk. Was it legit in your views or not?
Yes. And here's my issue, right? I'm watching the fights, and you see they're showing the score, and I'm like, they had it closer at first. The guy showing there, and I'm also on some boxing threads on Facebook and different social media outlets where we're talking to guys like, no, they're crazy. Fury's winning instead of that, whatever. I'm like, what am I watching? And I wanted to text you, but I'm like, no, because I don't want to influence yours. You know how we don't want to influence. So, and I was like, if he's seeing it one way, I'm seeing it another way. That's what judges, you know what I mean? We're not judges, but let's put ourselves in their mind frame. How does it work? How does it go? I don't want to influence yours. That's why they say judges sit on 3 different sides of the ring. So I'm watching this, and I'm like, I've been watching boxing, loving it, keeping my own score for decades. And in my mind, this is like my 700th title fight that I've been a judge for, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not seeing what I think I'm seeing. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. And then once I'm going up, I had it 116-112, and then boom, and I was like, that's what I'm sticking with. That's what I wrote down. That's what I'm sticking with. I'm hoping I'm not out there Adelaide Bird on this one where she always has a crazy one, whatever have you. So when I got 116-112 on the dot with everybody else, I was like, whoa, okay, great. I was good with it.
And I thought the fight took a similar tenor as the first fight. The first 6 rounds, I thought Fury was winning the fight. The last 6 rounds, Usyk kind of took over. And in this fight, it was, in my mind, more demonstrative. I believe the last 6 rounds, all 3 judges gave every round to Usyk, except one judge gave Fury the 12th round on their card. So again, and that's where we talked about the weight gain. What was it? And I think it slowed him down a bit. But I think what slowed him down more, Chops, both these guys watched the film. We talked about looking at the first fight in last week's preview. Look at the first fight, what worked, what didn't. I think they both did a hell of a job with that. I think they both had, in my mind, based on how they fought, they had great camps. Their corners took into account what worked and what didn't, and they really both tried to do that. Let's talk about Fury first. I saw him; he was catching Usyk with that jab when he was, uppercut when he was trying to come inside. We'll talk about that because we said that was going to be important to try to go downstairs. He was trying to hit him downstairs in that belt line a lot.
Exactly, and I'm telling you, it was rough. I want to pat myself on the back for not giving in and texting you, because I wanted to know what you were thinking during live time, but I didn't want it to affect, what we're doing now. Yeah. So here's my thing. I don't understand Fury's corner. Here's why. Yes, you wanted to work the body. Yes, you wanted to pressure him. You said you wanted a first round knockout or an early knockout. How do you put on 25 pounds, and not in a good way, how do you put on 25 pounds as you get older? You're not in your early 20s. You put on 25 pounds as damn near a 40-year-old man, but you want to ramp up your activity. I don't get that. Because again, if you were going to go balls to the wall and try everything to knock him out within the first 2 rounds, and you're just throwing haymakers, you're throwing everything with bad intentions, punches and bunches, okay, I wouldn't have agreed with it, but okay, I get it. You know what I'm saying? So having said that, I didn't understand that. Now, for me, I still had, I say through the first 6, I think I had it. I think I want to say I had it 4-2, 3-3, maybe. I didn't have Usyk losing all those rounds, and I definitely didn't have it lopsided like I did the first time. So when you talk about Fury, right? I love the fact, and I'm telling you, again, doesn't matter whether you miss by an inch or by a mile. A miss is a miss. But there's a lot of those uppercuts he was just barely missing with Usyk, just barely missing. And but that's all it takes. But again, and you know it, throwing a punch and missing takes a whole lot more out of you than throwing and connecting. Yes. So now there was a few he connected, but also with the body shots, he didn't sit down on any of his body shots. He didn't get that torque with the body shots. He didn't sit down on them. When you're torquing, when you're sitting down on them, you're getting more pressure. You're getting more power. He didn't do that because, again, I think he hit Usyk with a shot or two here or there in the body that he didn't like. There was one, was it 8th, 9th round, 7th? I'm not sure. It was mid-fight. He hit him right on the belt line. And at first, I thought it was low. But then when they replayed it, that's right on the belt line. They say belt line from here up is good, right? So it was a nice body shot. But Usyk didn't show, he didn't buckle to that one. Or I say he didn't show that one hurt him. But again, going back to my original statement, I just didn't understand Fury's camp. You're going to put on 25 pounds, but yet you want to work harder. You want to push the pace. You say you want to knock out for a guy who's never been knocked out. Not saying it can't be done. Everybody's chin can be tested. Everybody can be chin checked. Get that. But that I don't get. I don't understand how you say we want to be more active. We want to throw more punches. We want to be more aggressive. We want to go for a knockout. Oh yeah, by the way, we're going to put on 25 pounds in not a natural way. Not even a healthy way, not a good way, should I say.
But I also saw, and I don't know if you saw this too, I felt like the last half of the fight, and I think this hurt him on the cards. He would come in with a quick, jab cross combination, then try to tie up Usyk and then lean on him. He was trying to lean on him and put the weight on him, and it was effective partially. But I think he slowed his activity level down doing that, and that hurt him on the card. So what are your thoughts?
Yes and no. Okay. Yes, I saw that also. But what I didn't understand was why you was in Fury, why you didn't do that earlier, right? If you're going to lay on him, lay on him. If you're going to go out first round, first 2 rounds, we're truly going to put it on him. We're going to work the body. We're going to see how he responds. Baptism by fire. If you can say that to a champion Usyk who's been through it all, right? But you've never been in there with a 280-pound guy, 6'9", a literal giant, you know what I'm saying, that is throwing punches at you with bad intentions. Okay. So if you're going to do that and that doesn't work out through the first round or two, now it's time, get your 1-2 punch, lay on him a little bit. Now, as you lay on him, you're going to rest. You will sap his energy because he's upset now. He's lost the first 2 rounds. Get off me, get off me. That takes strength, pushing a 280-pound man off you. So I would have done that route, but he didn't do that route. Now, so yes, I understand where he was laying on him, which I wish it would have worked, like you said. Wish he'd have done it earlier. Not wish, because I wanted Usyk to win. I think it would have worked better had he done it earlier. But then, where I say no, Drew, I thought, and again, it was hard for me not to reach out to you. I thought he was gassing in Usyk, Fury, and not gassing as we see in the traditional way, but he would throw that one punch, and if he didn't hold, he would throw that one punch and almost get stationary. He might take a good shot from Usyk, and it wasn't like he brushed it off. It just looked in his body language to me, that 25 pounds was starting to weigh on him. It was starting to weigh on him. And I don't want to say gas, but it was. And also, if you noticed, he was not popping that jab. He did it a little bit here and around, a little bit there and around. But even through the first 3, 4, 5 rounds, like in the first one, he couldn't do that. Usyk moved forward. He ate up real estate. He, as in Fury, just didn't have that jab to keep him off of him. I don't know if it was at 25 pounds. I don't know, because Usyk came in a lot harder, and I got to believe, when I say harder, more aggressive, more active, I got to believe that was harder than a lot of the sparring sessions he had. As in Fury, I think most of his guys stood there, let him pop the jab. They tried to work in a little bit, but I don't think they pressed him as hard in sparring as Usyk did. I don't think.
No, I think you're right, because Usyk made an adjustment based on the film, and we talked about it. He had to get inside and work the body on Fury. What he did, what I saw, I think was the most strategic thing, was that he limited the distance from the first fight. He fought at a distance that was almost perfect for Fury in that first half of the first fight, where he was able to land that jab real clean and he couldn't get around it. This time, he basically, in my view, said, I'm going to take the punish. I'm going to eat that jab, but I'm not going to give him the full distance. So I'm not going to take the full jab. I will get inside, but I know I got to pay a price. And he did, but he was able to get inside. And when we talked about hitting the body, we also talked about avoiding headhunting. Well, that's the beauty of, I've never seen a fighter's substantial size advantage actually work against him in a way.
I know.
Because Usyk was throwing combinations at his eye level, which was solar plexus level for Tyson Fury. Perfect. So he was smoking him right in the chest, and he was giving him some liver shots. It kept Fury from getting too aggressive, in my view. And I think that was the subtle thing that really turned this fight. Those even rounds from the first fight swayed Usyk's way in most people's views, and certainly in the judges' views in this fight. We'll talk about that. Oh, you chopped your mic, Scoff.
My bad. Appreciate it. Okay, here's the thing. When you're 6'9", fight 6'9". I think the worst thing he could have done was add that weight. I would love to have been in his trainer's mind. Why put on the weight? It's one of two things. You had said that he had a bad camp. That's all I can assert it to. You had a terrible camp, and you will never know. But do you think Fury was like, you know what? I've made my millions upon millions. I've got generational wealth. I'm going to get this payday. He's not going to knock me out. There's no need for me to really train. If I win, it doesn't add to my legacy. If I lose, it doesn't really take away. And I say that again, because you put on 25 pounds. I can't get over that. You know what I'm saying? So when you talk about that, had he have come in the same size, even maybe lost 5-10 pounds, right? Fury from the first fight, I think he should have realized I can beat you with a jab. My jab is a boxing glove on the end of a telephone pole. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. So if he's standing up, and they say because it's easier to punch down than it is to punch up,
Yep.
right? So if Fury uses his height the way he should be able to use his height, pop that jab, he pops that jab, Usyk can be as busy as he wants from a distance. Now, and if my jab is on, I've lost weight, I've got the endurance, I can pop that jab, I can pop that jab. Now I can frustrate you to get you do something out of character before I do something out of character. Meaning, I pop this jab on you for a good 4 or 5 rounds. Now, here it is. You're frustrated. At some point, you're going to throw caution to the wind and come in like a wild man. You come in like a wild man, you've got to throw a looping hook because you can't hit me with anything other than a looping hook. You throw that looping hook. This is where I'm going to put my chin because I know I've stood up before. Again, your chin or a body shot. Because when you come in, if you're going to come reckless and wild into the lion's den, you've got to pay for it. I just think Fury's camp. Again, I want to say his camp because I'd like to believe he's still, but I don't even know. Maybe he's hard enough and doesn't even listen to his camp. But whoever was there did him an in-service by letting him come in 25 pounds over what he was last time. And when I say letting him, he's a grown man. Nobody can force you to do anything. You know what I mean? You don't love it. You know, your wife and kids couldn't force you to do anything if you didn't want to do it. But you know what I'm saying by his camp should be on him. He should want to listen to his camp. Putting on 25 pounds, I don't get it. I just don't get it. And I think that hurt him significantly more than it helped him. Than it helped him. Our third member, you know, Jesse, he's been doing some personal things, but he hasn't been here with us. But even in our conversations, he understood it and why he was going to do it. I just never understood it. Why? You think about this. I'm not trying to be funny. Where has putting on 25 pounds ever helped a person in such a short time? Because you don't have the time. You know what I'm saying? Even there have been fighters that have moved up in weight classes. You don't move up 3-4 weight classes in a few months, number one. Number two, you may go from 145 to 150 or one or two weights, but you realize because I couldn't make that weight in the last fight, I'm just going to move up because it'll naturally be easier. But you're already a natural heavyweight and you put on 25 more pounds at damn near 40. I just didn't get it, man. And I really saw it. If you noticed, if Usyk would have had a better left hook, hypothetically, again, I understand it's cream of the crop, but if he'd have had a Tyson or a Frazier left hook, he could have taken. He could because you saw after the 7th, 8th round and later, his hands were just down. His right hand was just down. Is when I say his, as in Fury's.
Yep.
He couldn't even hold it up. He had no pop on his jab after like what, the 5th, 6th round. He'd go in spurts. He could give you 35, 45 seconds, but the round's 3 minutes. So you came out and looked good for the first 30, 45 seconds, lagging for a while, but Usyk was busier. Usyk threw more punches. He was still, I don't want to say stealing rounds, but he was winning them because of Fury's inactivity, to me.
Now, you're right. And truthfully, I guess I agree with you. It was a bad camp. To me, it was a plan that was the path of least resistance. It was far easier for Tyson Fury to put on a bad 25 pounds and think that that's going to be enough to beat. To me, actually, it's I wouldn't say it's disrespectful to Usyk, but it's certainly not.
Yes.
It's not giving the man his due that he can hurt you. He did hurt you. I think Fury's plan in the first fight was damn near what he needed. He needed to just go downstairs more, but the plan, other than that, the body type, the establishing the jab and making sure you were making them pay, try to make them pay in the body. That was the plan. This was a path of least resistance. This was, I want a short fight. I want to get him early, like you said, and I'm not preparing to go. Obviously he went 12 rounds. He's a great athlete. As big as he's a great athlete, he can do that. I think he was a little overconfident, maybe underestimated yet again what Usyk can do for 12 rounds as well.
What did Usyk weigh in at this time? 226 again?
Pretty much, yeah, we're the same weight.
So what are we looking at? You figure 2/3, a 55, 60-pound advantage, right? Like 55. Okay.
It's big.
So
it's huge.
55 pounds and a good 6-7 inches in height. I don't even know how the difference was in reach. But so having said,
6-7 inches in reach.
yeah.
Yeah.
So having said that, now think about this, Drew. Seriously, it is quite disrespectful, as you say, quite disrespectful, because you believe that you can come in 25 pounds heavier and get me out in 2-3 rounds where no one else ever has. You know what I'm saying? And that truly is disrespectful. Now, also on the same token, you're right. He's a great athlete. Usyk's not a heavy puncher. Usyk wasn't a heavy puncher when he was in the younger, when the smaller weight divisions. So my thing would be, if I'm Tyson Fury, nobody's ever knocked me out. So anything can happen, but I don't believe this guy's gonna knock me out because I've been in the ring with him before. I've already been in the ring with him. So I've never been knocked out. This guy who doesn't have any knockouts, he's not gonna knock me out. I can go to distance pretty much just about anywhere with my jab alone. I think it was disrespectful on all fronts. I really do, man. Now that you mentioned, I'll be honest with you, I hadn't even thought of it that way. But that really changes everything on the aspect of, wow, that is disrespectful. Because you have seen guys put on weight the good way, more muscle, more lean, trying to do this, that, whatever have you. Now, even muscles need oxygen. That wasn't Fury's issue. But
No.
you have seen guys try to build themselves up. I'm a small welterweight. I'm a small middleweight. So I want to, you know what I'm saying? Oh, you're looking at certain guys that are big middleweights, big super, you know what I'm saying? Fury, you're already a big heavyweight. And to put on 25 pounds, man, just imagine, hypothetically, if he could have come in same weight, even like I said, 5-10 pounds less. You could have the best nutritionists in the world, 5-10 pounds less, been able to pop that jab. Even if you'd have been able to pop that jab solid for the first 6-7 rounds. Yes, so Usyk comes on later in the fight, but you would have already banked enough points, and you probably could have stolen a round or two, and you could have won that. You know what I mean? 7-5, 8-4. Meanwhile, it was just a sloppy game plan. I just didn't understand it. And come on, man. We're not at that level. We hit the bag, we drill, we do this, we do that. Okay. We both know what it is. Hands get heavy. And people say boxing gloves are only 12 ounces. You know anything? I can hold a beer all day. That's totally different, man. It is. It's, you know what I'm saying? So picture this. Think about it, man. And anybody who's out there, you want to see others, put some boxing gloves on. If you have a heavy bag, it's better. Or try shadow boxing to your favorite song, the entire song. Got to make sure you throw a punch every 8-10 seconds, 12 seconds, you know what I'm saying? You search and do that with a minute break, do it 12 times, see how it works. People understand how, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So now think about this. You're damn near 40. You put on mad weight, which is going to slow your cardio down regardless. I don't know anybody that's put on 25 pounds and their gas tank got better, right? And you throw a jab, those they get heavy. Those arms get heavy. I just don't understand what was the plan. I would have loved to have spoken to Fury. What were you thinking? What were you thinking? How did or his trainer? How did you, what in your mind's eye, how is this going? If you can play Fury's trainer, how would you sell that?
Well, I know Sugar Hill Stewart's his trainer in this fight. That's Kronk jab. So what their game plan. It was even mentioned on the broadcast a few times. That's Kronk. You're gonna have that Kronk double jab. You're gonna do that. And Fury, and that's one of Fury's, and like you said, in his toolbox, that's one of his best assets to have a jab like that. But I agree with you. When you fight with those gloves, 12-ounce gloves, I mean, hell, I hit the bag with 16s. Cool. And what a huge difference. It's 1 pound each on each hand, right? It's not a big deal. But when you do that constantly, like when put in perspective, if you watch a hockey fight, they're just throwing for about 45 seconds, and then they are gassed. Think about doing that for 12 rounds, but you're not throwing like at that level, but still, nonetheless, it's another level of endurance and physicality you got to be able to have to be a fighter, a pro fighter, a fighter of any level, or you're going to go 60 seconds and be done.
Yes, absolutely. I just, and you're going, it'd be different if you were going in with a guy with a glass jaw. You know what I mean? We didn't know what Usyk's jaw was like, but we knew he didn't like body punches. Okay. When you throw a body punch, yes, you can throw a jab to the solar plex, which we had said he should have done trying to work. Throw jabs to the body and whatever, everywhere. Hit him.
Mm-hmm.
But when you throw body punches, you're putting a little power on them. You're putting a little twist on them. You got to make sure you got that hand up because you're getting in close. So your defense has to be. All that takes energy. All that takes energy. You're bending more at the legs. Bending more at the legs. You're working those the gluteus maximus. You're working your thighs. You're working everywhere. The glutes, everything, because all those muscles, right? That lactic acid starts kicking in. So putting on 25 pounds, how does that help? How does that help? I don't, that to me, that is going back to the key. And nobody talks about it because he's earned what he's done in his sport. He's earned his position. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So you don't want to question, but I got to question, what, 25 pounds? Just don't get it. Just don't get it.
We may never know.
No.
He may admit it, but then again, it's going to come out an excuse why I just wasn't ready. Well, then that's on you, dude. You weren't ready.
And I'm glad you said that with an excuse because I say there's a difference between a reason and an excuse, and that's anything he says would have been because even if you thought, well, we were coming in heavy, I want to put more pressure on him, have some heavier punches, try to knock him out fast. But you weren't going balls to the walls for the first 2-3 rounds, trying to throw everything but the kitchen sink at him. You weren't doing that. So I don't know, man. And now again, we've been on this one on Tyson's side for quite a while. Let's switch it up. We don't have to give him as much time.
Mm-hmm.
But what about Usyk's performance? Well, first up, hold on real quick. I did have it 116, 112.
Yep.
What about you? What did you have it scored?
I had it the same, 116, 112, honestly. And I had Usyk sweeping the last half of the fight, honestly.
Okay.
So I did give Fury the 12th round too. I shouldn't say that. I matched closest to that one judge. But I believe I had it 4-2 in the first 6 rounds in favor of Fury, but then favoring it 5-6 to Usyk at the end. So whatever that adds up to. But
yeah,
I definitely felt Usyk did enough. Actually, it's 115, 113. I actually had a little closer.
We had it. Is our guest from last week, Claudio, he had it 8-4 Fury. Turned out being 8-4 basically 160, 112 to Usyk. Now, I'll be honest with you. Even if you'd had it 115, 113, it's not a hill I'm willing to die on. You know what I'm saying? So I could see. And even if someone, I'll be honest with you, I couldn't have seen how anyone could have given that fight or judged that fight for Fury. However, if someone would have had it, even if they'd had it 115, 113 on all the scorecards, I could have seen that more than a clean sweep of 116, 112. So I'm surprised that it was that wide of a gap, just being honest with you, because I thought he was going to continue to work his jab. And okay, in jiu-jitsu, even when you're tired, you can learn to rest as you're on your back. You can have a guy on top of you, but you can learn to rest. There are certain positions. And I believe boxers can find out times how to rest, but they still need to pop their jab from time to time, maybe still around, pop their jab time, keep the guy off him, or whatever, just to buy a few seconds here or whatever. He didn't do any of that. You know what I mean? So, and also, no, I'm not going to say he didn't do any of it. Usyk didn't allow him. Usyk impressed me. He was really aggressive. And I'm not going to say aggressive as in throwing haymakers. I just don't think he has the strength to knock anyone out. And I think he realizes what his strengths are and what his weaknesses are, and he never goes outside of himself. I respect that. I respect that. I respect a fighter who never gets in his feelings. And what I mean that by is you never get upset. You never, I'm going for the knockout. I'm trying to do this. You stay with who you are. You know what I mean? Stay with who you are. And Usyk realized, I go to the head, I do this well, but I'm not a knockout guy. So I'm not going. He didn't go hard and aggressive enough on Fury when he had him hurt the first time. You know what I mean? He was still throwing punches within the scheme of things, within the program, within the fight scheme. So I was impressed with Usyk, but I was more impressed with how he was like, you know what? I'm going in. I'm going through the front door in his living room, and let's see how it plays. I was impressed by that.
I too. He's saying, I'm going to eat that jab. I might even eat a cross. It's not going to be a full on cross, but I'm going to take punishment to give punishment, and it worked.
Yes.
He banked on himself. He banked on his chin, and you're right. I think he recognizes, I'm not going to just throw one good shot and put this guy on the canvas, but over 8-9 rounds, I'm going to wear down everyone in front of me, and that's how he fights. He's super strong. He's very athletic and agile for his size. and he's able to just wear down guys. So he's getting KOs later in fights. Like, he didn't KO Joshua, but he always hurt Joshua in the ninth, eighth round because Joshua would start wearing down.
And it's crazy how we see the same things, but we use different adjectives, right?
Yeah.
I look at him as like a lot of European fighters. I don't think Usyk's athletic. I think he's very mechanical and robotical, but it works for him. He is gritty. He is grindy, right? And it was weird to me because he did eat the jab. He was like, I'm going to eat that jab. But you had to realize there have been other guys that have hit you to the body that you didn't like. Fury hit you to the body once or twice you didn't like. That was uppercut. And he just missed a couple times of the uppercut, and that right-hand cross, Fury missed a couple times. But again, doesn't matter whether you miss by an inch or a mile. Missing is missing. I get that. But I like the fact, like you said, fellas, I mentioned it. His is an Usyk. His mindset is different. This dude was a dude who was going to give up boxing and go back and fight for his country in war. You know what I mean? So you saw even in their face-offs, when they're looking eye to eye, last night, I don't know if you happen to notice it, when they're referees giving the warrant, the rules or whatever, Usyk's or Fury's making face, he's doing this. Usyk is looking through him almost. His mindset is just different. You know what I mean? His mindset is, I need to get from point A to point B. I don't care if there's lions and dragons and tigers and whatever, snakes. It doesn't matter between me and there. I've got to get from point A to point B. This is the way to go. Let's ride. That's how I get it with Usyk.
Well, when you're right, and when you're a guy who was willing to face people with guns, you're not going to fear a guy who only has two hands.
Yes.
Yes. That mindset. I just made it sound very simple. It is not.
But it gets you a mindset. He's like, get it done. No excuses. So I did, man. I was impressed. And I was impressed after round one from two, because Usyk was busy the entire fight. He didn't sit back. He didn't wait for he didn't allow, for lack of a better term, he didn't allow Fury to set his jab, to let his jab start working. Maybe you can say, well, Fury didn't throw it enough. Maybe that was because Usyk was on him. Maybe because the additional weight had Fury feeling not himself. Because we can't say the moment was too big. Fury's been in that moment with all those fighters for years, so that wasn't too big for him. You know what I mean? But I just don't get why. Again, I hate to go back to it. I know I'm beating a dead horse. Why do you put on 25 pounds, man, for a smaller? You didn't need it. You didn't need it. It wasn't like you were fighting a guy who loved to go to the body and was a heavy puncher. I don't get it.
And that's, to me, that speaks. Now I ask myself, what is Tyson Fury? What is he looking for in 2025 now? I mean, does he want it that badly anymore? I'm not sure now, because to me, that wasn't the way to train for this fight. At least
no, not at all.
So I don't know. I hadn't thought much about it. There could be a trilogy. I don't know. They were very close fights. I get it, but what do you think?
That's hard to ask me, and because I'll be honest with you, I'm jaded against this decade's boxing heavyweight. This heavyweight division. There's nobody there that to me is true definite. Yo, that guy's a champ. This guy's a champ. Joshua has all the physical tools. Mine can't get right. Dubois, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. Everybody else is older, and they're not working their toolboxes. I hate keep using the same tool, but they're not. All they want to throw is these heavy bombs. You know what I'm saying? Now, as you talk about Fury, I don't know. I really don't know. And here's the thing why. Here's why. What he goes from here. What is left to prove? You have more money than you can spend, generational wealth. Your last X amount of how many years fights have all been title fights. What do you get? Now, had he fought Joshua when Joshua was hot, cool. For some reason, they couldn't make that fight work.
Yeah.
But you're going to go back at, again, damn near 40 toward the end of your career and fight fights that aren't championship fights. Why do that? You don't need the money. And if more bad can happen than good. You could have a bad performance. You could get knocked out. You could, whatever, okay, so you win. And even if you win in spectacular fashion, you're fighting an Anthony Joshua who's lost twice to the guy that you lost to, the champ. You're fighting a guy who lost Anthony Joshua, who lost by knockout, nasty knockout to Dubois. For the most recent over his career, he isn't Joshua's known for more bad things than good. Getting knocked out by Ruiz, falling down over himself, whatever have you, just praising Usyk after he whipped your tail. Then and the only thing you can brag on the last few years, and I hate to say brag on the highlight is knocking out an MMA guy in Ngannou. You know what I'm saying? So I don't get what would be beneficial. You know me, what's the benefit of doing anything? I don't see what's beneficial for Fury to fight Joshua. Now, Joshua, yeah, I can still say I got another knockout, and it's a name to have on my resume. Again, it's the end of his career, but maybe you want to do whatever, and I need to show people I can bounce back against a high-quality heavyweight after my debacle against Dubois. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. But for me, if I'm Fury, I sit back. Now, if I'm Usyk, I don't see the money in it. Does he want to fight a rematch with Joshua? You can do Dubois. I think, to me, Dubois is catching hell because the way he's coming to ring, give me that, whatever. Now, again, I understand British are different, or excuse me, all different countries are different than we are in American.
Sure.
And I'm seeing a lot of articles from writers that was immature, that was whatever you stole to. That's how we Americans do, especially in boxing. That had been in Vegas. The next contender is stepping up. Okay, good. We've seen it in MMA. We've seen it in boxing. They come up and stand in each other's face. Enjoy it now, but we're signing. We'll take these 2-3 minutes and talk our trash, but you still can enjoy tonight because we're not going to sign this for another month and a half. We're going to put it out for 4 or 5 months. You know what I'm saying? So to me, getting in the ring at that point doesn't spoil from his night. To me, it doesn't. You know what I mean? But is that what he does? Okay, talk to me about Fury. You're Fury's corner. What do you do from here?
That's a good question. I think the money fight, truthfully, especially certainly in the UK, is a Joshua fight at this point, and it may be Joshua's last chance to somehow get back into contender relevance. And I say that he's still one of the top fighters. Well, that's what an indictment on the heavyweight ranks right now. Yes. Like to your point,
yes,
how Anthony Joshua, as poorly as he's looked in the last 3 years, how he's still in contention, that tells you something right there. I mean, I think Fury needs this. If he wants another fight, that's the fight to make for money. He's not going to get a shot at Dubois or Usyk next year, I don't believe. Now, maybe if they run the trilogy back, I don't know if they will or not. But to me, it's more about what Usyk is going to do. And to me, the natural fight's the Dubois fight. That's the natural fight.
Yeah.
Unless Dubois
still has to win. He's got to fight in February against his mandatory. You know what I'm saying? So Dubois jumped the belt a little bit. He jumped the gun a little bit, even doing that. You know, so we'll see, man. And again, it stinks because there's a lot of names, and you're looking at older guys, you know, Herbig, Zhang. They're all older too. You know what I mean? Still younger than us, but old in the fight game.
Oh yeah.
You know, and you're not as high on him anymore. But I still think Big Baby can get it right. Maybe he can move up. And hopefully there's some young heavyweights coming up. You know what I mean? And I know I'm throwing us off on this, man, but I know this can be a good one. We don't have a lot of time left, so I want to jump on this. Stepping ahead a little bit on Haney and Garcia, and it's Haney's father and Haney Garcia, right? And that's going to go into what we're next doing, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But they're still going at it, right? So let me get and talk. They're still going at it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny. The internet is brutal, but I don't know if you happen to see it where Garcia was holding a picture of a baby, and it had David Haney's face. And that was funny. Yeah. That was actually funny. Oh man, that was funny. But okay, okay, now again, we've known some fathers. Floyd Mayweather, he was with Floyd for a minute, then he got out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of some other fathers and even like
John Fury's one. He's in
it now. Haney's in it now, right? Where Sugar Shane Mosley's dad was there. But these fathers stood in the background a lot. Now, what is this all of a sudden? I'm going to run my mouth and write checks that my son's ass has to catch. I just don't get it. Now, again, Fury's dad was a lot quieter this fight. He was a lot quieter this fight. You know what I mean? But why is Bill Haney doing? What is this?
I think it's the Lamar Ball school of living vicariously through your kids. Honestly, I think he set the bar. He got his name. I mean, everyone was talking about Ball forever, right? For like 2 years.
Now,
and I think that's the way. Honestly, I think that's what it is. I've seen it.
But here's the thing: Ball was a loudmouth. I'll get it, but it worked because he got his sons in the league. They're none of them. They're in the league, doing well. They're in the league, so that sort of worked, right? Then he wasn't a spokesman, but Archie Manning stood in and was like, "Yo, Eli is not playing in San Diego," so he did that. Fathers got involved, whatever have you.
He did,
and I don't begrudge that when you're making sure you're looking out for him. If you don't sing your son's praises, no one else will. So if you're going to sit there and say, my son will whoop your son, my son's a heavyweight champ, okay, I get that. You're headbutting people from Usyk's camp in the first time. You're trying to take your shirt off and get a fight. Big dog, your son is old in this business, and you're older than he. Sit back, pump your brakes. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm like, yo, what is it now? Bill Haney, you're still in good shape. You used to do, but your son lost. He took an L. If anybody wants to bring it up, what we're doing is, you lost to Ryan Garcia. Yeah, we lost to Ryan Garcia. He had PEDs. He put on a lot of weight. And then you move on what we're going to do here. Somebody asked you another question. Yeah, that was a rough night. We definitely got to get better to learn how to defend that left hook. I mean, but he was on PEDs. So, and keep moving. But this here, arguing, I just don't get it. You've already lost. And I've asked the question before, and neither one of us really answered it, but I'm asking again.
Okay.
Is Haney shook mentally, even Devin? I don't think. Have you seen him say anything? We see even in Twitter. Have you seen him say anything to where he's ready? He went. I saw his dad say they wanted to fight Catterall if Sheik could make it happen in England, or in England really, because that's where the money fight be. Catterall's the money guy. Catterall's not a big puncher.
No.
Fury, your boy, Devin, he's rock, man. He's I think Haney, and I've never said Haney is shook. He's shook.
It's hard to argue against it because he's doing nothing to dispel or to even encourage anybody like us to think otherwise, right? He's not saying, hey, look, I want you back in the ring. We're going to do a rehydration clause. We're going to do drug testing, but I want you back in the ring. We're going to figure this out real quick. We'll figure it out real quick. We're not hearing any of that. And that is, to me, that is a telltale sign that he is shook. Now, I don't know. I don't get it, Chops. I mean, he's a pro fighter, though. I can't believe he hadn't gotten his ass kicked at least once in amateurs or as a kid. He knows what it's like to get your ass kicked. He got his ass kicked on the big stage. Is he that embarrassed that it's rocked him mentally? That I can't imagine physically. I mean, he can make adjustments.
Well,
hand up. That's a good one.
Okay. Think about this, right? Think past the moment. Now, I want you to think about something. Right? You know me, I'm always a think past the moment, and I read into it a lot of times. Sometimes it gets me in trouble, sometimes whatever.
Okay.
The way his father is defending this grown man now, who was on some people's pound for pound top 5 list, top 10 list, you know what I mean, coming up in young up-and-comers. The way his fathers keep going at this, the way his father's doing this, the way he's pressing charges in a legal battle.
Yeah.
Do you think they ever put him in a situation to truly be tested? And when I say that, you say you're sure he's had his ass kicked in amateurs. They probably knew who was what and what was what. So, let's avoid this guy. Let's avoid that guy, right? Or this guy's a heavy puncher, but he's slow. This guy is slow, but whatever it may be. I don't think they've ever, because before Garcia, Haney had not really been tested. He hadn't been through any adversity. And because now, look, yes, it was a PED. You're not the first guy to be beaten by someone with PEDs. You know what I'm saying? But you are the first person that I can think of that pressed charges because you got beat. That really? You know what I mean? It just, I don't know, man. I don't know. It just
Margarito dipped his hands in plaster of Paris, man. And
yes,
I mean that's cheating.
That's
crap. I get it. I don't know. I mean, I think Haney is like he's got good speed. He's not lightning quick. He's got good power. He's not heavy-handed, but he's got good power for his size. He's a very good all-around fighter. Garcia, is quicker and probably stronger than Haney, but I don't think he has the chin that Haney has. But Haney could never test it. So I don't know if maybe they just feel like the speed of Garcia is too much to overcome. And because of that, Garcia is able to land on him and he's not able to, really answer. And it's just kind of a losing proposition that this, like you mentioned it, let's face it, we talk about the four kings. I mean, Roberto Duran got annihilated by Tommy Hearns, who got knocked out by Marvin Hagler, who Duran took the distance in 15 rounds. So it's about matchups too. And I mean, I just, Duran had the power to hurt Hearns, but Duran didn't have the speed or ability to get inside on Hearns to do it, where Hagler did. Again, it's just, I keep going back to those guys, but they're the gold standard.
Well, here's the thing, and you make a great point. So, yes, we understand styles make matches and fight, whatever have you. Yeah. And if you don't think stylistically you can match up with him, okay, great. But you won't know until you get him at the right weight and put in a hydration clause, whatever have you. Even when it was Resto against Billy Collins, you know what I'm saying? And Resto ended up serving jail time for that, for dipping his hands and putting mercury in his gloves. But that's because they found it. That's assault. You have to do time. You know what I'm saying? Ripped his eye, never fought again, Collins, and he had a lot to lose. Mm-hmm. But there's no jail time for PEDs. This is what your boy Haney is doing. They filed the lawsuit, and they've already said if you not, but and it's pretty much well known. If you just drop the lawsuit, we can move forward with getting the paperwork signed to get the rematch. So when he comes off of his year sentence, you guys can pretty much be in it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But he's not doing that. He's not dropping it. I think mentally he is shook. Mentally he is gone. His father doesn't know how to handle react. I hate to say a bill of goods that we were trying to sell these people a bill of goods, but I don't know what it is, man, because he kept getting up. He kept getting up, so he had the heart. I don't know if he realized it was muscle memory to keep getting up. I'm a fighter. That's what I do. But now after I have the time to sit back, Dad, I don't want any more of that. Son, I don't want you to take any more of that. So we don't even want to get in with any of the top fight. You know what I mean? I just don't get it, man. And it's not a good look. It just isn't. And this going back and forth, you're not even in the ring. Pipe down, dog. Sit down, Haney. And I like Bill Haney. I do. Mm-hmm. You're just going too far, guy. You're going too far with it.
Yeah, he's making a bad situation worse. I mean, I get it. They're trying to do damage control, but they're really creating more questions than answers.
Yes, absolutely. And you won't let people forget it. We've seen some ugly, ugly knockouts, devastating knockouts in boxing. And if they're talking about you in your next fight, they'll bring it up. Well, it's a vicious knockout. Let's see how he responds from this knockout. But they don't talk about the knockout as much as Haney is talking about what happened. Hell, if Haney had let it go, we wouldn't have talked about it much. And if it had been brought up, we'd have been like, we'll never know what happens because Garcia wasn't healthy. He wasn't natural. He wasn't legit. He cheated. But now we'll never know. We'll never know because Haney will not let it go. Also, real quick, man, which wants to lead us in, hopefully we have enough time to use because that will be pretty good. 2024, we're going to go the old wah, wah, wah. Good, the bad, the ugly, right? The good, the bad, the ugly. And I'll be honest, I don't even know. It just makes y'all think of the showdown when I hear that. All right, here we go, right? In boxing this year, 2024, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's go. What was your good? Only go good. What was your good?
In the spirit of what we just talked about, I mean, the Fury Usyk fights were good. They were good. They lived up to the hype. I know they didn't have the marquee value. Sadly, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson had more marquee value than these fights did. But they were very, very good heavyweight fights. Unfortunately, they're only heavyweights that are really, of superstar relevance at this point. But they fought two very good fights. I was very happy with those. So I got to give it to Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury, and for me.
Okay. Mine, and I was flip-flopping a lot of different ways, and we can talk about both of them. The good, boxing made a hell of a comeback in 2024. It was the smaller guys that did it and the younger guys, but we saw, Inoue came up. Shakur, he was trying, it's hard for him. Whether it was Teofimo Lopez, he was getting some traction there. Tank Garcia, you know what I'm saying? It was the smaller guys. Of course, the B-balls, the Canelos, they're still going to be there. You know what I mean? Boots Ennis was trying to get a run. They were making some better matchups. You know what I mean? So I was liking that, man. Baranchek upsetting Navarrete. You know what I mean? So I was like that. So I was liking, for me, the good was boxing made a comeback because it was dying there and it was dying on the vine to me in a lot of ways. Okay.
It had a slow first quarter too. We didn't see a lot from January to March of this year. It was mostly the last 9 months.
I know. Exactly. And I'm hoping they build on that. But also the good that I saw, some young cats coming up, man. Some young cats coming up, right? And when I say that, and they're young guys, we both like Keyshawn. We both like Keyshawn Davis. You know what I mean? We both like Keyshawn Davis. And even Abdullah Mason, trying to get him on. We got that, some of those young guys working and looking pretty good. And they're coming up, right? I want to say, even though we've liked him for a while, more people now have got to see Inoue. So that's good. You know what I mean? Because he fought once out of Japan this year. And they were early in the morning, but he also got to fight on ESPN or on TV. So that was not ESPN, but he fought on TV. So that was pretty good, right?
Yep.
And even he's not doing as well as we thought, but your boy, Big Baby, Jared, right? We saw some young and upcomers that, man, this sport, I would like to have seen more heavyweights. I really would. I would like to see more young heavyweights because me being a big guy, I just like the heavyweights. So that was my good in boxing. Seen some young cats, Zapatis, he's Zayas, sorry, excuse me, Xander Zayas.
Yeah.
So Zayas, he's up there. Keyshawn Davis, Abdullah Mason, Baby Anderson. So I'm geeked about that, man. I'm geeked about that. Now, for the bad, what was your bad in boxing?
Couple things. Specifically, I agree with you. The good is all these young cats coming up and becoming more marquee names. The bad is they're fighting on social media and not in the ring. That's not a good thing.
Yeah.
I love Tank Davis, but he can talk about how irrelevant or how Shakur doesn't bring in the money, doesn't bring in the dollars. Shakur Stevenson's a pretty damn good fighter. Pretty damn good fighter. There's a fight to be made there. I'm sorry. I can't help it that the casual boxing fan wants to see a specific type of fighter and fighting a specific type of way, which is lightning fast and throwing haymakers and big knockouts. That's fun to watch. I get it. But it's also not every fighter is like that. And furthermore, that'll get you knocked out too in a lot of cases. So not every fighter can fight that way. It's not a recipe for success per se. So I don't like that. I quite frankly, I'm getting tired of reading about all the talk. It's like sign the paper and get in a ring. We always joke. It's like, we'll believe it when they're face to face.
Yeah.
But and then what exemplifies that is Ryan Garcia. I mean, coming in, totally disrespecting the sport the way he came into that fight. The racist tweets and stuff from last year. I'm tired of that crap. To be honest with you, I would have no problem if I never saw Ryan Garcia fight in a professional ring again. I wouldn't
got you
one bit. Do I respect how that he's a great fighter? Absolutely. Do I think he's a world-class fighter? Absolutely. I don't think he's a world-class human being, and he's not a world-class professional athlete. He's totally disrespected the sport. But I think Bill Haney validates Ryan Garcia by doing what he's doing. He's hurting more than he's helping in that regard. But I think that's the bad, at least from what I saw from this year.
Okay, so you're really the bad in boxing has been social media. So you're about social media. I got you. Big Dog, and you touched on mine, and I don't know what I'm looking at is worse. Like, I had bad in a couple different areas, right? It's bad to me that because we're natural. We love the sweet science that fights like Tyson and Paul got coverage that Usyk and Fury didn't, made payrolls that Usyk and Fury didn't, that had fanfare always. That's my problem. What's bad for me in boxing is that true fighters are being overlooked because of the society that we are now in. And it goes off what you said. Guys can fight on Twitter now. Are you kidding me? Twitter, that's where we're having this fight. Twitter's not even a real place. But
it's a lot of keyboard warriors over there, but
you know what I mean? Exactly. Tell you, you're real toughy on a keypad. So that is what's bad for me. That the true fighting. Let's not forget when Tyson used to fight. It was a short event, but it was an event. Oh, yeah. It was an event. I remember bars charging $25 to get in to watch the fight. Mm-hmm. Think about it. If people would do that rather than pay the $50 or $60 for a pay-per-view, right?
Yeah.
So you'd pay the $25 to get in, knowing they're going to charge you an arm and a leg for beer, you're going to eat some wings, whatever. You spent $100 there where you'd have just spent $50 at the house and watched the fight. I never understood why people did that. But that was the bad for me. How we've seen Jake Paul become a big name in boxing with his own boxing promotion and getting real momentum behind this and people following it. And he's not fighting people in his weight class. He's not fighting anyone relevant. And every time there's a mic in front of his face, he'll say he wants to be champ. You do some great things for boxing is bringing eyes to it. You're bringing in the paydays. Then train, young man. You're still young. Train. Get in there. Do what you need to do. Do what you need to do and fight real fighters. Fight real fighters. But the joke is on us because he realized he can make boatloads and boatloads of money without fighting real fighters. So for you, with social media, for me, it was a social media cat becoming a big name in boxing. That's bad. That's bad for boxing. And boxing allowed it to happen. Mm-hmm. All right, real quick as we get out of here, what's your ugly? What's your ugly for boxing?
Yeah, so quick, the ugly for boxing, you touched on it earlier and when we were talking about the Fury Usyk fight, is the lack of depth in the heavyweight division. It's what hurt the division when Tyson fell, in essence fell from grace, at least in the media in the early 90s, and when he lost to Douglas. There was a bit of a void. And I know that we had Holyfield coming up in that time and everything, but there was a gap. Even the early 80s, it hurt Larry Holmes' legacy somewhat because once those guys from the 70s like Ali, Frazier, and Foreman dropped off, there was a gap. Even though there were some great fighters back then, I think that's kind of the ugly. We need to see some more young talent, specifically in the heavyweight division. We're seeing it in the lower weight classes, which is good, but the heavyweights got to come up. How about you?
Yeah, my ugly is, again, went through social media, but Haney and Garcia, this is just ugly for boxing. You're being petty. You're being childish. I hate to say let it go. You don't have to let it go. Get back in the ring. Demand Garcia back in the ring. And if he doesn't, Haney could have come out looking like and smelling like a million roses. Smelling like a million roses and looking like $1 million bucks. Whatever, how your saying goes. I'm so excited and so heated. He could have. Because he cheated. He isn't Garcia cheated. He didn't make the weight. You were sitting pretty. Yes, it wasn't a good look, but you put to it. He was 20 pounds heavy. He was PED, whatever. He won't fight me legit. He won't get in the ring legit. He knew he could. He thought he at least could beat Tank. He signed a hydration clause. He won't even sign a hydration clause with me because he knows. So to me, the ugly is Haney won't get back to brass tacks, won't get back to business, and he's fighting this through this social media. Man, Drew, real quick, man, this is it, man. This is it for 2024. The Lord has blessed us, to get through 2024, and hopefully bigger and better things are on the horizon for us personally. Definitely, hopefully, professionally with Haymakers and Submissions podcast. So, man, just like doing for you, I'm looking forward to 24. Man, this is a great ride in 2024, man. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I can't wait for 2025. I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Whatever you celebrate, do it safely, but have fun. Enjoy yourselves, enjoy your family and your friends. And thank you for watching us. Thank you for subscribing. We just started this up this year. So, we were doing that on other platforms, but we're rocking and rolling ready for 2025. So for Chops, I'm Drew. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to check us out on Roku and the ESEN network every Friday night at 10 p.m. We're ready to rock. So take care, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you for watching the Haymakers and Submissions podcast. You can find us on the ESEN network on the Roku app every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time beginning on October 4th, 2024. Check us out on Twitter X. Our handle is @HaySubPod, capital H, capital S, capital P. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single episode. Just go to your web browser and type in www.youtube.com/@Haymakers and Submissions podcast, as we will drop content weekly. Whether it's boxing, MMA, or wrestling that gets you fired up, you'll get all you need right here at the Haymakers and Submissions podcast.